Aloha, dear friends. My name is Jiko, and I am a Soto Zen Buddhist priest at a temple called Daifukuji here on the island of Hawaii. Today's video is about takuan, which is pickled daikon radish, which is quite popular in both Japan and also here in Hawaii. It is crunchy, tangy, sweet, and salty, all at the same time, and just a few slices taste oh so good with a musubi or omusubi, a triangular shaped rice ball with an umeboshi inside and wrapped in nori, seaweed. Does this make your mouth water? Today, I will show you how to make some takuan. It's very simple. And I would like to share with you two Zen stories about the Reverend Takuan. Yes, I did say Reverend Takuan. Did you know that a famous Zen priest named Takuan Zenji is credited with having been the originator of the Takuan pickles, which we all love? These crunchy yellow pickles are named after this Takuan Zenji, or the most reverend Takuan. I'd like to begin with a story about Reverend Takuan. Here it is, Two Moons. Short Zen stories by Shunmyo Sato and illustrated by Kyuji Inouye. The title of the chapter is The Secrets of the Art. My story today takes place at the castle of the third Tokugawa shogun, Iemitsu. On one occasion, a large tiger from Korea was presented to the shogun. And as you can imagine, this created quite a stir at the castle as everyone wanted to see this big tiger. Shogun Iemitsu was immensely pleased with this gift. He had a cage built in the garden just near his office, and he delighted in showing this ferocious beast to guests and also demonstrating his knowledge about the animal. One day, the priest Takuan asked to see the tiger. The shogun was happy to show off the animal and to also show off his knowledge about the animal. Well, he got carried away by his own words and ended up saying, "Let's see what will happen if we put the Lord Tajima into the tiger's cage." Munemori Yagyu, Lord of Tajima, was the castle's martial arts instructor. As a swordsman, he was number one, Ichiban, the best. Who knows what he was feeling when he was called to enter the tiger's cage? But he couldn't disgrace himself. So he said in a dignified manner, "Yes, I will do it." With his sword extended, he inched toward the tiger. The tiger let out a vicious snarl and extended its claws, glaring at the swordsman and ready to pounce on him. Yagyu glared back at the tiger, and the staring match went on for some time. The spectators were sweating. To their relief, the tiger relaxed its attack posture and lowered its gaze. Yagyu quickly got out of the cage, in a dignified manner, of course. The spectators cheered, "Yay!" The enraptured shogun was now turned to the priest, Takuan, and said, "How about about you, Reverend Takuan? Won't you give it a try? Oh, if you wish, replied the priest nonchalantly, and entered the tiger's cage. To everyone's surprise, he walked right up to the tiger. Everyone gasped as he began stroking its head and petting its body as if he were stroking a cat. The tiger showed no hostility at all. It squinted its eyes, twitched its tail, and rubbed its head against Takuan's body as though Takuan were its best friend. The spectators were dumbfounded. They were amazed by the difference in the tiger's response. Okay, now let's make some Takuan pickles. And let's go over to the table in the temple library. Here we are in the temple library, and I am wearing my Miss Takuan t-shirt for this special occasion. My daughter Amy gave it to me. When she was little, Amy and her brother loved this storybook about, you're right, Miss Takuan. Let me come and show it to you. It's a story by Miss Akiko. Miss Takuan, with art by Steve Rose and Melissa Reed. Excuse me if it looks backward in the camera. Miss Akiko is Akiko Masuda. She's the owner of Akiko's Buddhist Bed and Breakfast on the Hamakua coast on this island of Hawaii. In fact, it was Miss Akiko herself who gave this shirt to Amy when she found out how much Amy and her brother loved her book. Knowing how much I love Takuan, Amy gave it to me. So I am happy. Okay, let me move the camera a little bit closer so you can see what we're doing here. Yesterday, I received a gift of organically grown daikon from temple members Richard and Koshin. Look at this beautiful daikon. Thank you so much, Richard and Koshin. Today, I'm using a Takuan recipe from a new cookbook that has just come out and is available for $12 at Soto Zen temples throughout the state of Hawaii. Here it is. Sorry if it looks backwards. Okay, end of commercial. Here's a list of the ingredients which I'll be using. I'm making half a recipe, and this recipe was submitted by Nora Takeuchi, Maui Montokuji Soto Mission, and Soto Mission of Aea Taiheiji. First, you need a daikon. Peel it and cut it into bite-sized pieces. So, you can cut your takuan into any shape you like. Normally, we see it cut into half-moon pieces like this. Or you can cut it into matchstick pieces or pieces that look like French fries. So here's my piece of daikon, washed, peeled, cut in half, and then I'm going to just slice it into these half-moon pieces. You can make it as thin or as thick as you like, but I think not too thick. Maybe about 1/4 inch looks good. And put it all into a bowl. Okay. So, this is what we need. It's 1/8 cup Hawaiian salt or any kind of salt that you have. Here's the Hawaiian salt. 1/4 cup of Japanese vinegar, rice vinegar, and whoops, I made a mistake. This is not the salt. This is 1/8 cup of Hawaiian salt, or any kind of salt that you want to use. Backtrack, 1/4 cup Japanese rice vinegar and 1 cup of white sugar. Excuse me, this is my first cooking class ever. The recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon of yellow food coloring, but I am substituting turmeric powder since I don't have yellow food coloring and because I love turmeric. It tastes good and it's also very good for you. So, okay, let's see. We will mix everything together. The sugar, the rice vinegar, the salt, and I'm going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric for the traditional yellow color of the daikon. So let's put in a little bit of turmeric. See how beautiful and yellow this turmeric is? Then we are going to mix this all up. You can see here just a few simple ingredients to mix it all up to make our marinade for our daikon slices. Okay, I think we've got it all mixed up here. We want the salt to dissolve. I know that some people heat this up in a pan until the salt dissolves, but this recipe does not call for that. You can just mix it up well and it will be fine. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we have our daikon here, which I'm going to transfer into a slightly bigger bowl. Beautiful, crispy, crunchy, fresh, organically grown daikon. Then I'm going to pour this marinade with its beautiful yellow turmeric color over the daikon slices. Give it a little mix, and then this will go into the refrigerator for a number of hours until the pickles are ready. I would put it into the refrigerator at least overnight. Okay, there we go. You can make your takuan as yellow and bright as you like. But I think that just this little bit of sunny yellow is just enough. And there you have it. Easy, yeah? My kind of recipe for sure. Now back to Reverend Takuan, whom we can thank for this takuan. I have one more story about him and the swordsman Munemori Yagyu with which to end this video. So let's go back to the story table in the Kannon Hall. One day, Munemori Yagyu visited Reverend Takuan. The two started to talk about deep teachings. Reverend Takuan said, "The profound teachings are not something to be discussed. They have no meaning unless they are revealed at the right time, in the right place, and under the right circumstances. As you see, it's raining now. Is there a profound teaching which will allow you to stay dry while standing in the rain?" "There is," said Munemori Yagyu the swordsman. He went outside into the pouring rain and began slashing wildly at the raindrops with his sword. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. His sword was a blur. And when he came in, he was not wet, as he had expertly whipped away the raindrops with his sword. Well, not 100%. A few drops still clung to his sleeve. Reverend Takuan inquired, "Is this the extent of your lordship's profound teaching?" Munemori replied, "Yes. Does Zen have a profound teaching that will keep you completely dry?" "Oh, yes, very much so," said Reverend Takuan. "Then please show it to me," said Munemori. Reverend Takuan jumped from his seat, went outside into the garden, and stood in the pouring rain until he was completely drenched. Then he came back and said, "So what do you think of my profound teaching?" Munemori got it, and he was extremely grateful for the priest's kindness in demonstrating this profound teaching. Do you get it? Munemori realized that his whacking away at the raindrops was the same as his staring down the tiger with his sword drawn. In both cases, he was conscious of an opponent which he had to defeat. In other words, there was subject, himself, and object, the tiger, the raindrops. Reverend Takuan, on the other hand, had absorbed the tiger into himself and become one with it, with love and kindness. With the rain, he immersed himself in it. Thus, it did not make him wet. One truth, one reality. So, dear friends, the next time you take a bite of a crunchy piece of takuan, please remember the Zen stories that I've shared with you today. Mahalo for your time. Ahui ho, until we meet again. Take good care. May you be safe. May you be well. May you dwell in equanimity and loving kindness. Take care, dear friends.